According to the box model, everything is a box. However, not all boxes are created equally. When we have the box model put into practice and applied to actual elements, those elements end up behaving differently depending on the type of box it is. Now we're going to have a number of different boxes that are available to us and that are set up by default. And those boxes are going to be dictated by the type of tag that is associated with that box, because a span tag is not the equivalent of a paragraph tag, and a paragraph tag is not the equivalent of a list item tag. So throughout our different HTML documents and different elements on our HTML documents, we have different display options and different display for those elements. So what's controlling that behind the scenes is the type of display that is being applied to our specific objects. And of course there's a default display that's being applied. Now we are going to have the ability to override what that default display is like by controlling and setting the display property for any of our boxes. So in essence, we can take a span tag, and using the display property, we can transform that into a table, or we can transform it into a paragraph. Now of course, this is only going to transform it visually in our browser, because it's not actually going to be affecting the HTML tags or the logical structure. So we actually have a number of different values that we can set our display property to. Now a number of these items are not all that commonly used, with the most common ones being none, block, and inline. So I'm going to take a moment here to go over each one of these. And first is none. None is going to make it so that that box does not display. In fact, not only is it not going to display, it's going to be removed from our document entirely. Structurally, it will still be there, but whenever it comes time to render it on the browser screen, the browser's just going to skip it and it's not even going to be present. Next we have block, and the block display is going to make it appear as if it's, say, a paragraph or a div tag. Next we have the inline property value, and that will make an element appear as if it's a character inside of a paragraph or something like a span tag. After that we have the list item, and that will make it appear as if an element is a list item. Now the list item kind of goes hand in hand with marker down there. However, marker is no longer supported, and I've included it here only to be complete. Jumping back up, we have run in. Run in is going to make it so that it will appear in sequence with surrounding content. So its actual display will vary depending on what other content surrounds it. Perhaps the best way to think of run-in is something like a run-on sentence. With HTML, we have our different tags set up that provide different types of punctuation. So we end up having, say, a paragraph tag. If we end up removing that tag and removing all the paragraph tags, all of our content is just going to run together. Because of the way that our different display options are set up, the default display for our different tags carry with it spaces, margins, padding, and so forth. And by setting the display to run in, it removes that default behavior.